Hello! I'm currently writing the script for Shin Godzilla, currently untitled. It did originally have a subtitle to it. It was going to be something like a flawed classic or close to greatness, something like that. Because the video was originally going to be like my A Great Joy video for Godzilla King of the Monsters. It was going to be me talking about a film that I liked, that I thought had a lot of good stuff in it. But I was aware there was a few issues with it. Not huge, great big ones, like most of the themes and the parodies and the satires in the film got through. But I was also aware of like one or two things here or there. I'm at the end of the film and, oh dear. That last sort of bit in the film, the whole action scene, the more I'm watching it, the more I'm finding stuff that's just making me go, oh god, why did they do that? Unfortunately, Shin Godzilla does seem to suffer from what a lot of other films seem to suffer from. I don't know if anyone else has noticed, but a lot of films, modern films especially, most films can be separated into like three parts. You'll have the first part, which will be like the setup, like the characters, the world, situation, etc. The second act they usually call it the second act low point, because something will happen, things will go bad, and then that will lead into the third act, where the heroes of the piece have to save the day or do whatever it is that solves a problem set up in the second act. Essentially, all the payoffs and the action are in the third act. But more often than not in modern media, the third act goes a bit awry. You actually notice in a lot of criticisms, a lot of critics' videos, they will talk about the earlier scenes a lot more because of all the information that's in them. And that's because most often than not, the third act is just a big bombastic action set piece. Because of that, more often than not, there's a lot of things that get missed. So a lot of setups from the earlier part of the film don't get paid off very well because the third act is more focused on trying to make a big, memorable experience for the audience to go out on. And unfortunately, Shin Godzilla does suffer from this. Because in the film they have the plan that changes names a couple of times. The plan is built up throughout the runtime of the film, and it's 20 minutes, 15 minutes towards in, something like that. They execute the plan. The actual execution of the plan is odd, but then the way it's presented isn't very good. And then the more you look into like specific details in the film, the worse it gets. And unfortunately, because of that, I can't remember where I heard this from, but when you start at an end point and you go, okay, how did they get here? And then you go back through the story, through the details. So, okay, so they got here because they went here. And then they went here because this happened. And then this happened because someone decided to do that. And with Shin Godzilla, because the plan at the end of the film was so bad, you then start looking through how they got there, which then reveals other details that don't really work, and then it's kind of like an explosion going off at the end of the film and just cracking its way like a shockwave through the rest of the film. I think the main reason for this was they had an idea for the start of the film, i.e. parody and satire of modern political issues and recent events. They set about writing the film for that, then they got to the end and went, oh, how the hell do we finish this? Well, we need something at the end of it. Oh, big bombastic action set piece. Yeah, we'll do that. By contrast, Thor, Love and Thunder, Thor, Love and Thunder, appears to be written backwards. By that I mean, the end of the film is a hell of a lot better than the start of the film. The start of the film is not good at all. It really feels like most of the way through, actually, it was all given off to lots of writers. Like, each writer had a scene to write, and they wrote that scene, and then someone just stapled them together. And they might have had, like, notes about, you need to include this bit, or you need to include that detail. But then you get to the end, I mean, the final fight is still a big bombastic action set piece, but there's bits in it where it's like, oh, okay, that's cool. Oh yeah, I remember that being set up. But then the scene right after that with like Thor and Gore and Jane Foster, that's surprisingly well written if you don't think about how they got there. I know it sounds weird, but all the bits that are in the film, like there's stuff like Jane Foster was using Mjolnir to try and keep herself healthy, but then because she was using Mjolnir, she became Thor-like, so she started helping people. And then because of that, she ended up helping Thor and getting involved in the main story. And then there's just that bit at the end where he's like, don't use it because you will probably die if you do. Don't try and help me in any way. Then Thor does need help, so she does pick up Mjolnir and does help, but then she ends up killing herself doing it. It's sort of like self-sacrifice, dying for the sake of your loved ones, which then gets translated over into Gore. And this all gets all nicely wrapped up, sewn together. It is like, I did think about this, it's like someone had a jigsaw puzzle with all the notes for the film, like Jane's cancer and Thor's want to protect her and other people, Thor being the leader again, stuff like that. All these little details, they're all written on the back of jigsaw pieces. Then someone took all the jigsaw pieces and threw them in the air. And all those pieces just mid-air bumping into each other and just a big scramble of a mess of a cloud of cardboard. That feels like the writing for the film for the most part. Then you get to the end of the film and all those pieces fall onto the table into the picture they're supposed to be. And you're sitting there going, I don't know how that happened. That's what watching Thor Love and Thunder's last scene was like. You're watching the film going, oh god, this is painful watching some of these things. Okay, that bit's good. But oh god, no glitch. Oh god, this is, oh that's cool. But oh, it's then you get to the end scene, it's just like, this scene is way too good to be in this film. How did that happen? That's sort of half the reason I wanted to make this video, because very few people are talking about Thor Love and Thunder. I mean, how long ago did it come out? A couple of months? And it's disappeared out of people's memories. And for the most part, probably for good reason. But this last scene I thought was good enough that it needed pointing out. It needed someone to go, hey, that scene. I'm not planning to make a video on Thor Love and Thunder. When it comes out to watch online, I might do, depending on if I rewatch it. I think there's some stuff in it that I want to talk about more. But for now, no plans. So, yeah, here it is. That last scene in Thor, actually pretty good. Rest of the film, not so much. But it's because that scene is at the end of the film that it leaves you with a better taste in your mouth. Rather than a lot of other films, especially the Marvel films recently, where the end scene is usually a big bombastic action set piece that doesn't have a lot of feeling to it, doesn't have a lot of heart, or it has stuff in it which contradicts previous stuff, or doesn't really make sense, or leaves you sitting there going, okay, what the hell did I just watch? With Thor Love and Thunder, because that last scene is so well done, you leave the film going, okay, it was mostly bad, but unfortunately, Shin Godzilla falls into the former category, in that you watch most of the film and you go, yeah, this is all well done, the themes are in there, the parodies, the social political commentary, all that sort of, it's all in there, it's all nicely worked in, and you know, the pacing is quite well done because of the way it's filmed and whatnot. And then you get that last action scene, you know, oh god. And then you walk away from the film going, I mean, it was mostly alright, but so that is the comparison between the two films. Thor Love and Thunder, terrible film, but Shin Godzilla, mostly alright, but like I said, I'm still writing the script, haven't got right to the end and haven't got the conclusions down, so that might change things, who knows. Right now, I'm leaving the subtitle for my video of Shin Godzilla blank. Actually, if you've got any ideas, if you've made it this far in the video, hi, thank you. If you've listened to this video and heard my comments, and you've come up with your own subtitle off of that, or maybe you have an idea for a subtitle for Shin Godzilla of your own accord, let me know in the comments. I'll be interested to see what people think. Also, it helps the algorithm, blah 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 blah. I say blah blah blah, it's quite important. Anyway, my next video will probably be She-Hulk episode 4. Hopefully it's better, and hopefully they carry through some of these storylines I keep seeing popping up, like that whole DNA thing. Someone in one of my comments asked whether Red Hulk would ever appear, and I was like, can't really see that happening. And then I thought about that, the whole DNA trying to get syringe thing, and I thought to myself, is that going to lead into Thunderbolts? Is that going to be a connection? And I thought, is that giving this series too much credit? Is that giving the connective writing of the MCU at the minute too much credit? If they thought about it, if they were really thinking about it, I was going to say eat my shoes, but I know where my shoes have been. I'll think of something. If that ends up being the case, I'll be very surprised. I did think of one thing that was hilarious, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did it. At the end of the series, all the people you've seen in the series come back at the end, because we already know that Wong's going to be in it at least once more. It'll be terrible / hilarious if somehow at the end they manage to get Wong, Abomination, Hulk, Daredevil. Has anyone else appeared? I can't think of anyone. All at the end of the series, and anyone else who happens to turn up. Maybe Titania joins their side for a bit or something. They all join up for a big bombastic action sex piece. And it will be terrible, and it will be memed to death. Anyway, I hope to see you for that video. Well, not that video, but my next video reviewing episode 4 of She-Hulk Alternate Law. Hope to see you there. Thanks for watching.